The prosecution could rest as early as today in the trial of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. The last witness to take the stand was Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's former bodyguard. And he told the jury in graphic detail about the accused kingpin, how he murdered 3 men and severely burned 2 others, even burying one alive.
Meanwhile, the question of whether El Chapo will testify remains a mystery. His defense team says they will not disclose their plans until it is necessary. CBS News legal analyst Rikki Klieman is joining us now to talk about all this. Good to see you, Rikki.
Nice to see you.
So the defense is trying to call a witness to negate previous testimony from one of the prosecution's witnesses. Why? Explain that strategy.
Well, there are 3 ways that the defense could try this case. One is the way that you call no one, and you really leave it to the jury to understand that what you did on cross-examination to destroy witnesses' credibility is sufficient. By the way, when I was trying big conspiracy cases, particularly drug cases, I never wanted to put on a defense. I always wanted to argue that the government witnesses were not worthy of belief. A second way is to call your own witnesses and, just as you say, have one say, it didn't happen this way, it happened this way. And the reason for that is that there is an instruction about one lie means you could disregard all of the testimony. So if you don't believe one fact, if you don't believe one witness, you can disregard all of the testimony of that witness. But does that mean that all 13 cooperating witnesses were lying? Well, that's a little tough. And finally, the obvious way to try the case is to put the witness on the stand, something that used to be what I call the stiletto to my heart.
So there's all this talk about the prosecution resting its case. Has it actually done its job?
Yes, I think it has done its job.
So the prosecution has proven that he's the head of the Sinaloa cartel?
Let's put it this way. If you don't want to believe that he is the head of the Sinaloa drug cartel, which is the first count, which is what we call a RICO count, a racketeering count, if you don't want to believe that he was the head of the criminal enterprise, I would guess that you certainly believe he was involved in the criminal enterprise. There are 17 counts in this indictment. So let's assume that you can't quite get to count number 1, which has a number of violations within it. Well, you can still get to the other counts. And it seems to me that I can't imagine how they will not convict him of the other counts, which is why he might say, go for broke. I have nothing to lose. I want to tell my story, even if I go down in flames, because at least I told it my way.
So preview the upcoming week of testimony for us.
Well, there's going to be, after this witness finishes up on the witness stand, there is going to be, we are told, at least 2 law enforcement witnesses, and that's a good way to close. You tend to usually begin and end with law enforcement witnesses. As you may recall, we really began with a government cooperator, and we got to law enforcement in between the government cooperators. Right. So I think they want to tidy it up in the same way they brought on the handwriting expert to say, hey, look, let's show you the things that El Chapo really did himself. So we can look at El Chapo's recordings, El Chapo's encrypted messages. We can look very late on last week at the handwriting expert. And now let's have the FBI or the DEA, I assume it'll be DEA, tie it all up. So then they rest. So the defense then has to make the big decision. I cannot believe that these lawyers want El Chapo to testify. So are they going to bring this mysterious witness who is being held in custody somewhere else, whose name they have not given up to the public at large, but they have? There's certainly, we know there's motions been filed about getting him there. So are they going to call this one witness? Is one witness against 13 cooperators make a difference? I guess it depends on how good he is. Or perhaps she is.
All right. We'll be watching. Rikki Klieman, thank you as always.